Hi, I'm Christy Burcham, Vice President of Education and Training for BERNINA of America, and I'm here at Meissner Sewing today, and I'm so excited to share with you about the BERNINA 740. A little bit about BERNINA, if you're not familiar with the brand. We're a family-owned company based in Switzerland, and we have been around since 1893, currently in the 4th generation of ownership, and the 5th generation is part of the business already. So really, we're excited to be a family company, and we hope that you'll be part of the BERNINA family as well. So let's talk about the 740. This is a great machine. The 7 series machines are our most popular machines, and I think you're going to see why when we take a quick look at this machine. So the 740, as you can see, has a full color touchscreen right on the front of the machine. It's super simple to navigate this machine, and it's so easy to change your stitches and to adjust them. So just touch a stitch to select it, simple as can be. And if you want to make a change to the stitch, it's so easy with these multifunction knobs. So it makes it really easy, no tap, tap, tap to get the stitch length or width you want. You just adjust it, and all of those adjustments are made right on the screen. You can totally adjust any stitch on the machine. You can make it change stitch width, stitch length, needle position, anything you want to change about the stitch, you have total control. We also have what we call temporary altered stitch memory. So if you see I've made this stitch nice and wide, if I switch back to my straight stitch and then go back to that zigzag stitch, those settings are remembered. So I don't have to remember what was my settings. Did I write it down? Did I save it? You don't have to worry about that. The machine remembers it for you. If you want to make a permanent save so you can access that stitch even the next time you come to sew, there is a personal memory program so you can even save your stitches. So lots of conveniences on this machine. It does have about 200 decorative stitches, and they're organized in folders so you can see all the different stitches. And this machine does do a 9mm wide stitch. So if you're looking at some of the other models on meissnersewing.com, you might have looked at the 485 and the 540. The 485 does a 5.5mm wide stitch. The 540 does a 9mm wide stitch, and this machine also does a 9mm wide stitch. So if you really like doing decorative stitches, you're probably going to be interested in that 9mm stitch width. It really gives you a lot of flexibility and a beautiful decorative stitch, especially if you're building decorative stitches on the edge of something, or you want to really show off those fun stitches in your machine. We also can do lettering, which is also great to be able to do. The 9mm wide stitch makes that lettering show up a little bit more. And with the lettering, we have what we call a combi mode, so you can actually build your name or your initials or your quilt label, whatever you want to do. You can build that and stitch your combination of stitches. Super simple and easy to do. We also have buttonholes built in. BERNINA makes a beautiful and very simple buttonhole. There's a buttonhole foot that makes it just as easy as can be, and there are a number of different buttonholes to choose from, so no matter what kind of project you're doing, you've got this buttonhole that you need. There are also a whole menu of quilting stitches, so if you're a quilter, there's a whole series of stitches just for you, and they're all set up to give you the ideal settings for that type of quilting that you're doing. One of the things I love about this machine is how easy it is to set up for success. So actually built right into the machine is what we call the Creative Consultant. You can see that icon right here. And with the Creative Consultant, you can pick your fabric type. So let's say I'm going to work on a knit and I'm going to do a seam. It's automatically going to tell you what needle you need, what thread you need, what foot you need, and what stitch it recommends. And then you can select yes. It automatically has set that stitch, and it automatically changes the tension, changes the presser foot pressure, whatever is necessary to give you the best quality stitch on the type of fabric that you have selected. So it has that all built in. You don't have to memorize a bunch of settings or play around too much with different types of fabrics, because the machine already knows how to set you up for success with those different types of stitches. So let's sew on it just a little bit, and I'm going to choose this cute little heart pattern, and we're going to sew it in a 9mm stitch. Now what's fun is if I do a combination of stitches, I can actually add that heart to my initials. So I've added my little initials in there, I've added a heart, and then what I can do is I can actually tell the machine how many times I want it to sew something. So I want to just sew one of these, and the machine is going to sew it and automatically stop because I've said I want one of them. If I wanted 2 or 3, I just touch it again and it gives me that number. So really easy and simple to sew. And what we're going to do is just put the foot down. Now this machine does have an automatic presser foot lift and lower, so I don't have to reach back here like we do with our other machines and drop the presser foot. It's actually going to drop automatically when I press go. So if I start going, the presser foot drops automatically, and it's going to stitch my little pattern and stop, and there is an automatic thread cutter, and you're going to see that the presser foot lifts automatically. So that's one of the differences with the 740 as opposed to the 540 machine. Again, if you're comparing models, this machine has that automatic presser foot lift. So it's really convenient. It also, because it has the automatic presser foot lift, it has a function that we call hover. And what that allows you to do is to stop with the needle in the fabric, and the presser foot will raise just a little bit so you can turn or manipulate your fabric. And then when you start going again, the presser foot automatically goes down. So that's a function that you have, and you can turn that function on and off depending on how you like to sew. Now you notice that I sewed with the start stop button, which is right here, but you also can sew with the foot control. This is the Bernina foot control, and it has the back kick function. So what this does is it takes a half stitch. So if your needle is up, if you take the half stitch, it's going to go down. If your needle is down, if you take the half stitch, it's going to go up. So it's really convenient when you're working with your projects and you're like, oh, I don't want to take a whole nother stitch, I just want to go up or down. You can do that right with the back kick functionality. All right, so I want to show you now how powerful this machine is. This machine, like all Berninas, has a DC motor. And what that means is it can handle basically anything you can get under the presser foot. It's going to be able to sew through it. So I've got here a nice sturdy denim, and we're going to start with 2 layers of denim, and we're going to start sewing a straight stitch. Stop a few stitches in, and we'll use that back kick to drop the foot. And then with the needle down, we're going to raise the presser foot. Oops, I cut the thread. That's okay. We've got that automatic thread cutter, which is so handy. But I'm going to go to 4 layers of fabric here. So I'll lower my presser foot, and we're going to sew right through 4 layers. And cut. So you can see that it handles 4 layers without any problem. And then we are going to actually take it another step further and go up all the way to 8 layers of denim. So we're at 8 layers. We're going to lower that presser foot, and we're going to start sewing. And you can see that the machine can handle that thickness no problem. Now, if you're thinking, I don't sew jeans, you might hem jeans. I have to hem every pair of jeans I ever buy. But also, if you do like bags or projects where you are working with multiple layers of quilt thicknesses, this machine is going to have no trouble going right through it. Now, again, if you're looking at some different models and you're wanting to compare and contrast, one of the things that's special about the 740 is it has what we call dual feed. And what dual feed does, I'm actually going to show you. Bring it down. It is a second set of feed dogs, or another feed dog at the top. It's on the top here. So you would attach a foot that has an opening that this feed dog can attach into, and that way you've got fabric feeding on the top layer and the bottom layer. What this allows you to do is if you're working with, say, plaids that you want to match up, or you're working with a quilt fabric where you've got multiple layers of fabric and you want the top layers and the bottom layers to feed at the same rate, that dual feed is going to help you keep your fabrics flowing at the same rate, prevents bunching, and really helps the stitches to perform well. So that's a feature that's unique among the 485, the 540, and the 740. The 740 is the one that has the dual feed functionality. One other thing that you're going to notice in terms of differences is this machine is bigger. So this machine is a full 10 inches from the needle to the frame of the machine, and that gives you lots of space to work on. It's actually a little bit taller too. It's 5 inches from the bed of the machine to the top of the machine. So again, if you're working with a big quilt and you're quilting it with your walking foot or with the dual feed, or if you're working with a big bag and you've got several layers that you're working through, you have all that space right here to work in. You've got all the space that you need. Also gives you a nice long throat for this free arm section. Now we're talking about things that are big. I want to mention, I can't ever fail to mention the jumbo bobbin. So the jumbo bobbin actually holds 70% more thread. So you can see that it actually holds quite a bit of thread. It's around 200 meters. Of course, it depends on the thickness of the thread that you're working on. But you know, if it's about a small spool of thread, you can fit onto this bobbin. So that means longer sewing without interruptions. We've all had those moments where we're playing bobbin chicken, as we like to say, and you're gonna win more often with a jumbo bobbin because you're not gonna run out of thread. So that's the BERNINA 740 in a nutshell. Of course, it does so many more things than I have time to show you today. And if you want to learn more about it, you can visit meissnersewing.com. And if you're ready to have one at home, you can actually purchase right there on the site as well. So thanks so much for joining me, and have a great day.